What is poppin' squad? Your boy Jesimein, and today we're going to be talking about the lifespan of the Darkzone and what's changed and why it was never fair. So first things first, if you are a newer player, and yes there is newer players, I ran into a couple this week. It's actually insane that people are actually coming in just for the first time and experiencing what we've been experiencing for the past 2 years. But if you're a new player, there's a certain thing that you expect when you go in Darkzone, being that since Rogue 2.0 has been out, the whole thought process of what the Darkzone is or should be, it was already misconstrued. So let's go back to when the good old days, right? Let's say pre-Rogue 2.0, and where friendly fire was the thing, and you can accidental go rogue and all this stuff, and there's no manhunt terminals and this, that, and the third. So when the Darkzone first started out, it was incredibly stupid to go manhunt, only because there was one, there's really nothing to gain, and two, there was so much to lose. If you died during manhunt, you would lose like 1,000 DZ levels, and at this time we all thought that DZ levels were super important, so we didn't really know. Now obviously DZ levels aren't really anything. Usually if you have a lower DZ level, it kind of decorates you as a real PvPer versus somebody who's like level 99. You're considered rogue police just off of profiling, right? So back then there was really no incentive, and even though there was no incentive, that was all I did, right? You would go manhunt, and the thing is it was infinite. There was no there was no terminal. If you were fighting it off, you can't have somebody sneak off and go take it off. So it was kind of like the concept we have where you can fight off as long as you want, except that there was a timer attached to it, and if you decide to run off somehow, some way you can get it off, that would be your way. But ultimately the only way is to be able to avoid people for 300 seconds, which was impossible at some point, especially nowadays, people stream sniping and fast traveling, all this stuff. Eventually you're gonna have to shoot a bullet and restart that entire timer. So it was pretty much really difficult to get a manhunt off unless you pretty much pounded people until the point that they didn't want to play no more. So that was it, right? And then they introduced Rogue 2.0. So Rogue 2.0 made it so that the people who can't get ganked, I guess, off rip, or a team can just beam off one person before they flag up, and it kind of made it where you have a time to react, right? So this kind of changed the whole feeling of the Darkzone and what it initially was supposed to feel like. In the trailers, I've actually made 2 videos on this, on what it was supposed to be or what it used to be. It was supposed to be something you had to have worry, right? You didn't know when to defend yourself. You didn't know when to have to worry about somebody just popping off or popping a tackling and wiping you in the server and then trying to get it off or whatever. So when they added Rogue 2.0, they changed that whole spectrum, and it was, I would say, quite possibly the most well hated, if that makes any sense. How do I say this? People hated it, but the people who it was made for loved it. It was a perfect scenario for the people who hated how Rogue worked, and it was the worst thing in the world for players like me who actually like thrived off of being Rogue. And yes, there's some key features about it I do like. One, I do like the infinite manhunt status if you don't get it off. I hated kind of like the whole idea of running a timer off, because it made more people run into random directions and you had to chase them around the DZ. It kind of got annoying. So yes, the concept is smarter, because it's not like they can get the manhunt off unless they go to one particular place, which I do say at the same time could be the worst thing, because people camp terminals. But if I'm gonna take something from it, I love the fact that you will stay manhunt forever if you decide to fight, and there is no ifs, ands between that. So what I really felt that really changed, or people made it seem like it would be more fair. In all honesty, yes, it helped, but the Darkzone's not meant to be fair, which is the whole purpose of this video. The Darkzone was never designed to cater to solo players. It was never designed to cater to weak builds or PvE builds. It wasn't designed to cater to farmers. It wasn't designed to cater to casuals. And I understand there are times in which you feel, yes, that it should be, everybody needs to have a place in the Darkzone, especially towards the end of its lifespan. And I agree. I mean, obviously, I don't want to take fun from anybody else, even if I'm gonna have fun regardless, because I'm like I said, I'm the glass half full type kind of guy. Even though Rogue 2.0 is really stressful, and sometimes I still find enjoyment in it. So it's not like as if Rogue 2.0 never came, my whole life would be changed or anything. No, it would be better. I would love the Darkzone even more, but I still have fun regardless. So how I feel about it is people have came to expect fairness, and I think that's something people drag on a lot, right? Like, especially with the misbalancement of the builds that we have, like, pretty much a solo player cannot fare up against a team of nomads or a team of preds or team of sticky bomb or whatever builds. Any team situation that's okay is going to slaughter a solo player. And I know it's stressful to some players because they feel like, well, the only chance we had was when Striker was the thing, because Striker was possibly the best solo build of all time because it was able to put out the damage and stay sustained as much as it could. When they took that away, it pretty much killed the idea of solo. And yes, we have Nomad, which is designed with a better buff for solo, but that buff isn't enough to deal with the amount of like relentlessness that all the builds combined have in teams are putting out these days. And I personally feel like, yes, there are times in which I would like solo to get a little more love and a little more incentive, because really it's almost impossible to like go solo manhunt successfully on decent players. We're not talking about bots. We're not talking about farmers who just, you know, they're running around with PvE builds that aren't doing anything and you're running Nomad or something. I'm talking about back in the day where even if you were going against a server of evenly skilled players, you were able to, if you outplayed, you know, you did what you had to do, you were able to handle that. And I think when that whole idea left, a lot of people started bouncing off, right? You would think that in a division there would be more team players, but back in the day, for all the newbies who came after like way after 1.7, going solo was definitely a real thing, and it was the thing for a while. People wanted to see solo gameplay. People expected it. Now putting out solo gameplay is super impressive. It's way more impressive now, obviously, but it's not sought after because nobody believes like it's reasonable. You know what I'm saying? Most solo gameplays that are successful, like true solo manhunts, are against players who pretty much don't know what they're doing. If you go against a team who somewhat knows what they're doing, just because of how the builds are designed in this patch, it's almost unrealistic. And no matter how good you are, people can front and people act like they're this god tier player how they want to. It does not matter. I know how the meta works. I know how the builds work. I know how they synergize. I know what it takes to go manhunt as a solo player, and I know what is a legit manhunt, right? You can't take fame of a kill when you know it's pretty much like a PvE bot. So I personally feel like this fairness factor hopefully doesn't drag on to Division 2, because I'm letting you guys know now, the Darkzone was never designed to be fair. That's the whole appeal to it. That was the whole reasoning behind why it got so popular, because a game never ever did that before, and it never gave people the option to take out a whole squad of people who could be evenly geared as them just based off of them outplaying. And I think the factors that can come off of playing solo are pretty much dead. Like there's no incentive for yourself anymore. I mean, it's mostly frustration, it's mostly irritation, it's mostly you having to sweat your ass off to proc nomads left and right, and then you have to do a Rogue 2.0 when the server crashes in on you. And in a rogue police culture where people don't like flagging up in the first place and they rather all jump you anyways, going solo is just suicide. Yes, there's players like me, and I know a lot of other like content creators who specifically go solo just for the challenge aspect, knowing what's gonna happen. But you know, we try. But at the end of the day, realistically, for a player that wants to be optimal and, you know, I guess be successful in that, going solo is not a thing. So being fair in the DZ is something that we're pretty much gonna have to get over, because in Division 2, I can highly to the highest bet possible, I will put my entire channel on it, that going solo will be something we want, but something that's ultimately going to be killed off in some fashion, just because the idea of going solo would mean there's a build that allows you to do that. And then if you get that build in a full team situation, obviously 4 times the build is going to be unreal. And then we have the striker things, right? The only reasons striker got nerfed really is, one, obviously because people abusing Cronus, but they could have stopped the way the stacks work if that was just the focus. But obviously it was because one build can't be that strong where you can solo a server. And that's why I feel the whole fair factor that we're looking for is just never gonna come. And it sucks because, you know, it's a cool idea. You know what I'm saying? Who doesn't want to be that badass dude who runs around smacking teams? Like, you can still kind of do it, but I'm talking about in any situation, right? And it's just unrealistic. And I think in Division 2 it's gonna be even harder because cover is actually more serious. So if you're getting pushed by a full 4 team in different directions, 90% of the time you're gonna die just off of the sheer health factor of the game. So you're not going to do that strafing and healing and all that stuff. They already eliminated that with the drop and pop. They already showed us a taste of what to expect, and some people don't like it, and I totally understand. But in the name of fairness, if I'm gonna be real with you guys, if I'm gonna be straight up blunt with you guys, it's never going to be fair. And it's kind of like life, right? Life is not designed to be fair, but you're still in it. You got to make the best out of it, and that's pretty much what the division's going to become, or has become already. And it's like, it's not fair. If you want it to be fair, get you a team, get you in a situation, get behind some randoms, do something in order to allow yourself to experience fairness. But as far as going solo, it's never going to be fair. And I mean, what's the point of even being mad at it now? It's just something to expect. I personally feel no matter what the situation is, fairness is impossible unless you have a dominant build, and you pretty much have to choose in the name of fairness. Do you want a 1 OP build like Striker, or do you want it spread around where it's realistic, where if you do go solo it's more impressive but more so impossible in that sense? So let me know what you guys think. That's just pretty much how I feel about it. I have to let you guys know, especially if you're a new player, the Darkzone is not going to be fair. It's not going to be even. It's going to be difficult. So it's been real. I love y'all. Your boy is out.